let me tell you, I need another beer.
You don't need Apple CarPlay. What is the big deal about Apple CarPlay?
I fight for truth, justice, and the American way.
What are you watching?
Children's programming.
Like, hey, dude, I want you to tattoo my ass. Well, the first topic we were discussing before, it's in a word troubling that Green Day has announced their set list for their newest tour in promotion of their most recent album, Father of All.
Yeah.
Matt Dixon's favorite Green Day project.
That's not the truth. That's not the case.
They are not playing any songs from said album on the tour. I guess because people hated it so much.
On the Hella Mega tour?
Yeah, I guess they're just going to ignore that the whole thing existed despite promoting it actively.
Do they even play?
I can't think of another time that this has happened, that a band goes out on tour in support of an album, like specifically, and they're not playing anything from that album.
I mean, if the album sucks. I mean, are they even playing Green Day on Top 40 radio right now?
No.
Top 40,
No.
Probably not.
No, we're not playing. It's Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy, but they don't have anything out Top 40 right now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So,
but we're giving away tickets. Text Blitz to 87453.
What was the last one of them that had a top 40 hit? Probably Fall Out Boy. Because Centuries and Uma Thurman were really big.
Yeah, we never really played Weezer. Beverly Hills isn't really or Sweater. Not really for us. Whatever.
Yeah.
I played Green Day in Tennessee. Tennessee Rock Station.
So let's just do our little introduction, and then we'll get right to it, okay?
Let's do it.
All right.
So, everybody, welcome to episode number 52 of the Illustrious Children's Programming Podcast. This is Matt Dixon, your illustrious host. As you can hear and you can see us, because we got a camera right behind you there, Sky. We're recording in 4K beautifulness now.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, people?
Yeah, he's single, ladies. He's ready for you. We're joined to the west by one Nicholas J. Paradies. How you doing, Nick Paradies?
I'm a little buzzed still from the party earlier, but
the party earlier.
Yeah.
Were you day drinking?
Yes.
It's not.
Don't judge me.
It's not what you want.
It is what you want.
And our secondary guest today is he just felt like showing up today. Chris Kelly decided to join us for his 8th appearance of the show.
I'm loving the Zoo York t-shirt. Tremendous.
Very
2008.
That's probably when I got this t-shirt anyway.
I love it.
Was that on your 34th birthday in 2008?
No, I haven't hit that yet, so we'll see.
What do you got on?
Surprising. Me?
I
got a Utah Jazz t-shirt,
go.
yeah. And I thought you'd like the Mercury Mets hat that I just got.
I do.
You like that?
Yeah, I was confused as to what that is, and now that you've explained it to me, I love it.
We were just talking about it, so.
Mercury Mets.
Yeah. And of
How
course.
about them Yankees, Sky? It's not what you want.
It's what you need.
We haven't even
It's not what you need either.
We haven't even gotten to our main guest today. That, of course, is returning guest, Mr. Skywalker, radio DJ on K104. Pleasure to have you again, Sky.
Thank you. It's been a year. I saw on our Skype chat, it's June 16th we did this. So
yes, it's over a year now.
Good thing we're not in a
changed?
pandemic anymore.
Yeah,
I know.
I forget. We weren't even together at that point. We were still doing it over
still doing virtual.
Yeah. So we're happy to have you back, because back when we recorded with you, the audio wasn't the best on our end, and my editing has improved tenfold. So now we're happy to have you for a much better quality audio podcast.
And now I have
That's
a
the point.
podcast. I'm up to episode 4 on my podcast.
Yeah, I know. I was listening to that. I'm sure we can talk about that as well.
All right.
Yeah, Matt just mentioned that. I haven't been on IG as much, but I'm definitely going to give that a listen to.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I enjoyed I listened to the first 2 episodes. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Do you realize something?
I just posted episode just now with it was an old best of, because I'm already doing best of an old interview with Adam Levine from Maroon 5. So that's posted.
Oh, nice.
When you actually archive your material, do you have to specifically know when to archive it, or is there a specific archive of your material from the past?
No, it's up to me. And something I learned very early in radio is to document. A lot of times radio DJs will go work at a radio station and not pull their audio, which is very easy to do. We have a computer system. And then, things happen. You get fired, you quit. And then if there's no audio proof that you were there, you weren't there. So I've made it a habit to make sure I save my audio, upload my audio. It lives on clouds all over. So I don't ever want to be without the proof.
Do you always save like your entire like episodes or your entire like what do you call it, recordings for that day? You just record like specific interviews?
Yeah, I mean, I'll the interviews I definitely save in a different way. But every time I turn on the microphone, it rolls record. It's saved for a month on our system, and I could pull that audio. What I'll do is, if I'm really being fastidious, I will pull my best breaks for the week, so that I have a saving, like a best of reel, so that when you go and do a demo, you're not going through the crap. I don't need to hear myself do the weather. But if I had a funny bit or a great winner, I just have to. It's like pulling the best of the best. So.
You can't tell me you wouldn't listen to 5 hours of Sky talking about the weather. I think I would sign up for that. When's the Patreon coming? So what made you finally to start to enter the podcast game? Because I know you were just doing the radio, obviously, for 20 years. But what made you finally jump into the decade-old podcast game?
Basically, you guys, in a way. Not specifically, but my students, because I am teaching, hopefully, if the class happens this semester with the enrollment, but I'm teaching, and radio's changed and audio's changed, and I felt like the podcast section needed to happen. So I'm a fan of listening to podcasts. I never really did one because people are always asking me, let's do a podcast together. Let's do a podcast together. I find that people that are doing podcasts, no offense or anything, people that are doing podcasts, it's a way for them to express themselves and get out content. Well, I'm on 7 radio stations a day. The last thing I need is another venue to get out content. Like I express myself all day, every day. So I didn't need another way to do it. I just was more of a fan. I like being a guest. Today is my second time as a guest today. I was with another podcast this morning whose name is Matt. So it's a Matt day. And
wonderful.
There we go.
And yeah, so then I wanted to teach it, and I want to learn. If you have any tips, you can let me know. But just the ins and outs of distribution and what makes a good podcast. I know what makes a good podcast as a listener, but I wanted to get in the habit of doing it and seeing what challenges I had and content, etc. So I'm a newbie. So I'm having fun, but yeah, I'm a newbie.
I mean, from listening to your first episode so far, like you're obviously very versed in the audio portion of it. So obviously it sounds excellent.
Right.
I mean, you're a great storyteller. So I really enjoy your storytelling style.
I just don't have I don't have necessarily a direction, like, it's not about radio. It's not about life. I think I explained in my preview episode, just kind of like what's on my mind at the moment. Some could be radio. Some could be professional. Some could be, just fun. So I feel this intense pressure to create content, though, because I know this was my big thing from podcasts. I watch this happen all the time. I get into a podcast and they go strong 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then maybe it falls off. People get busy, life happens, and they don't post another episode for 3 weeks. And then I lose interest. So I just was like, I don't want to get to the point where, I'm that podcast that falls off. It's discipline to, get something out there every week.
I think it's important to just do it, though, and kind of like what you were talking about, like you said, you don't have like a clear direction for it, but you are just doing it. I think that's important because, like, I mean, we're 52 episodes in and we still don't have a clear direction for what the show is going.
We don't know what we're doing.
And
but you just hit the nail on the head. What you said, just do it. The reason I got started is because I was thinking about doing it, and I was listening to a podcast, and this radio guy was talking about social media and podcasts. He said, if you're thinking about do it, just do it. I have a tendency to want to do something perfectly. Like, I don't want to go into it unless I'm really ready. And then he was like, no, just do it, and he was just my push to just freaking do it, and it'll form.
Stanley Kubrick said the best way to learn about making a film is make a film. So
yeah.
There you go.
I'm learning.
Absolutely.
Agree.
I felt that recently. Since we talked last, I started a band with my roommate, pop punk band. And I felt that recently when we were getting started, like you have the desire to just, I beat myself up because we didn't come out of the woodwork swinging with me having like 10 songs ready to go that are all great. But like I'm trying to get in my own head and be like, it's a process. They're not going to all come instantaneously. And
Right.
the best, like, you can't just snap your fingers and a great album appears. You have to, be willing to take the time and not putting deadlines on yourself helps some people. It's kind of has helped me, but like the most important thing is just to be doing it every day, I feel. And
1,000%. Yeah.
As far as like advice for your podcast, that's what I would say as far as that regard.
Yeah, that's a learning experience. And selfishly, the other reason I did it is because, the business is changing. Radio is changing. I need it for preservation. You can't be one of those radio DJs that are stuck in the 90s, the 80s. Like, radio has changed so drastically for the better, and some tough things as well. But it used to be that people listened to the radio station to hear songs. But now you can hear whatever you want on demand. You don't need your radio station to hear the newest blah, blah, blah. You can do that whatever. It's about the people in between the music that make someone listen to a radio station. So that being said, how are people consuming content these days? Well, podcast is one of them. The other is social media. I just have fun on social media, but, if I want to have a brand and have a direction, I need to be really cognizant of that. Also, radio used to not be a visual medium. It used to be the shadow guy you never saw. And now, for better or for worse, they want to see you. So you got to do those kind of things. So,
do you foresee a world kind of moving on that wave? Do you foresee a world where podcast and radio kind of coalesce into one medium?
Possibly. I mean, they've experimented with that and tried to make where they're one of the radio companies is doing a whole radio station of podcasts. But in my head, a podcast is pre-recorded. I mean, is that the correct definition? Radio, I think the live aspect is important. So if you're not recording your podcast, aren't you just doing a show?
That's true. Whether it's like a regular radio show or a pirate radio show, it's ultimately a lot of
radio people now are starting to use that platform Twitch. I guess people use it for gaming. Yeah. So radio people are starting to get on there and starting to do video and radio shows at the same time.
I think a lot of people too, they like the personal aspect of it. Like if you're just listening to a song, that's cool. But like you were saying, like if there's some sort of life to what you're listening to, like if you're watching something that was pre-recorded, you can still get that personal connection. Like if you listen to the show a lot, but if you're like watching like a live, like something like the Oscars or the Grammys, you're experiencing that as people are expressing their emotions live. So I think that's a really important, part of media, definitely.
And then a thing about being a fan, whether it's your friends or just like somebody that you listen to a bunch, like if I'm in my car listening to music, most of the time I'm, like you said, I'm streaming it, but I know there's certain times when Sky's on K104, so I'd rather hear him, for a little bit and then, switch back to my music. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I do sometimes. So it's just like having that fandom or just listening to somebody who you're familiar with. So that's always
got that personal connection.
Exactly. So you starting a podcast, I think a lot of people being the fact that you have listeners across the country, you'll definitely have people who can hear you in a different outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing I was wrestling with, and this is it's not off the record because I'll tell you, it's fine. But there was two directions to go. Do a podcast on my own or do a podcast through the radio station. Doing a podcast through the radio station, we have built-in listeners. We have, 100,000 people on Facebook and whatever, and these big numbers. However, when you go down that route and you have a bigger entity above you, you have to be cognizant of certain things. And I just didn't, not that I'm looking to do some kind of salacious podcast, but I didn't want to answer to anybody. So I just did it on my own. Positive, it's on my own. Negative, I can't use my current power for that. I can't do a break on K104 and say, hey, check out my podcast, because that's not under their umbrella. So kind of going out on my own. It's fun.
That's something that I see like with something that podcasts do that satellite radio can't really do. Is that like, I feel like satellite radio, as good as it is for like, and you can curse, you can do whatever you want pretty much. There's still that like commercial aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like for the most part, like podcasts are usually pretty non-commercial. Like you'll have your ad rolls in between, but it's still a little bit more of a personality than you would get with a satellite radio show.
Really, the exciting thing I feel about podcasts, it's an opportunity for the people doing them to kind of build their own brand. You know, like Howard Stern is an employee of Sirius ultimately. Like Howard Stern doesn't. I love Howard Stern, but Howard Stern doesn't work for himself. Whereas, like my favorite podcast is probably No Jumper with Adam 22, and like that's his own brand and his own company, and really kind of his own like creative vision for what he wants the show to be. And I find that very interesting.
Also, Howard Stern is not a big fan of podcasts. I've heard on his show before.
He's a radio geek. He's a radio geek.
Yeah.
So
I've heard.
I understand his opinion, but it's like, you know, it's like the old heavy metal fans that aren't willing to accept that the future of metal is people like Scar-Lord and Gucci Highwaters and stuff like that. It's like, get off your high horse, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the end of the world that kids today want to scream over 808s as opposed to live drums. Like, relax.
Yeah, I mean, people are against satellite radio, and it's fine. Everything can coexist. It all can coexist totally fine. I think that this college students will be excited about podcasting and the opportunity to do their own show in their own direction. So figure out how to teach it, how to tackle it. I bought a Rodecaster Pro. So that's a fun machine I've been experimenting with, and it's pretty cool. So I'm liking it.
It's got the little pads for drops and everything if you want to do little sounds.
Yeah, and you don't need a computer. You can do it all on smart, the little disc thing. And
we have the Zoom equivalent of the Rodecaster.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
So
right next to the bat phone.
Next to the bat phone.
And your Jay and Silent Bob lighter.
Yes, this is my little lighter there.
This is the Jay and Silent Bob reboot lighter.
It's official.
This is not what you want. It's in a word trouble.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad movie, but that's neither here nor there.
There will be no lighters at the school podcast studio.
Yes, there will not. I find it weird that like Howard Stern's so against it because like maybe it's a matter of jealousy because now like the big interview of choice now is either, you know, somebody like Joe Rogan or, you know, what's his name? The Mark Maron, you know, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Howard Stern's not really he still is for like bigger name celebrities, but it just seems like it's not as
well. They attract different crowds. I feel like that's kind of the thing that I feel like gets lost. Like there's a lane for everybody to exist in. Like
exactly.
If Foo Fighters is going to do like a press interview, they're going to go on Howard Stern because he was always the rock guy. You know what I mean? Like even though his show is a talk radio show, like the music he played was like rock, and that was what he was passionate about. Like, you know, Foo Fighters wouldn't go on No Jumper because No Jumper is an outlet for underground rap, and Foo Fighters probably wouldn't go on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan is an outlet for, I guess, ostensibly comedians, but really like
and right-wing conspiracy theorists,
controversial figures, I would say. I feel like Joe Rogan is a lot. People have called Joe Rogan like the modern Howard Stern. I feel like he's a lot more like kind of tantamount to like Mike Wallace or somebody than.
Do you like him?
Than Howard Stern is. Who, Joe Rogan?
Yeah,
I do like Joe Rogan.
He's definitely gone in the weeds a little bit since he went to Spotify.
You think?
I think it's because
I think the show has suffered. I agree with that.
I think it has something to do with his move to Texas.
Yes.
Maybe he doesn't have as many people that he has access to, and he's close to a lot of those like, you know, nutty, you know, his Alex Jones people. You know, he tends to like allow anybody on his podcast, which I understand. You want to have civil discourse with everybody, but I think you can draw the line at like, you know, borderline Nazis, but we'll just you know.
Joe, the thing about Joe Rogan is like
borderline.
When the episode is good, it's really good, and when the episode is bad, it's really bad.
Like the Quentin Tarantino interview was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that.
The single best like recorded audio interview, in my personal opinion, that I've ever heard is when the Black Keys did Joe Rogan.
That's a really good one.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you're like super familiar with like the Black Keys like outside of the music world, but
No, I
Patrick
saw
Carney.
them at. I went to Letterman. They were the musical guest. Saw them.
But Patrick Carney, the drummer from that, they're one of those weird bands, kind of like Fall Out Boy with Pete Wentz, like where the singer isn't the front man. Like when Black Keys do their press, Patrick does all the talking.
Yeah,
but he
so
is
true.
funny as all hell.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like he could have been a comedian in another life. Like he's a great talker. He'll sit there and shoot the shit with you for hours and is incredibly funny, incredibly personable. I can't say enough good things about the Black Keys Joe Rogan episode. I have like all the videos queued up in my YouTube watch later just to go back to again and again and again.
Yeah, he's just pretty hit or miss. I'm more of a Mark Maron guy personally.
Right. Mark Maron is more consistent across the board. Joe will have moments with like the Black Keys or like the Bernie Sanders episode that was great, and then like he'll have episodes of like Eddie Bravo
and Alex Jones.
The Alex Jones ones are funny in like a weird way, but like when he's got like some like when he's got like paleontologists on it, I'm like, I don't care, bro.
And he has a very long consistency of saying things and then sticking his foot in his mouth when he interviews people later on. Like recently, people were criticizing him for when he interviewed the Undertaker, I think, was on the podcast.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah, and then he was like, they pulled up a video from like 3 years ago when he was criticizing wrestling, and then he's like kissing the Undertaker's ass in the recent episode.
Well, I mean,
so, like,
you go the Howard Stern route too. I mean, Howard Stern was, anti-Ellen, anti-anything mainstream, but now in the weekends, he's, in the Hamptons with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
So, and he'll explain it as, hey, I grew up, you grow. I mean, I'm not the same guy.
He got his taste
That's
for the fine
people,
life.
People change.
Yeah.
Howard Stern, by the way, shout out to him for probably the most level up marriage of all time.
Correct.
The difference between Howard and Beth, like in terms of attractiveness factor, I mean, it's up there with Christy Brinkley and Billy Joel.
Shout out to the Don LaGreca list of top 5 level ups and relationships.
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking of that when I said that. But
that was the number 2 and number 1 respectively. So
it was.
I think he was number 5, and then Billy Joel was number 1.
I don't remember.
But
what about Heidi Klum and Seal?
Oh,
Jay-Z.
He said he didn't want to go there.
No.
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Sky, I see you've been getting very healthy lately. You look excellent, by the way.
Thank you.
I really I enjoy seeing people make transformations like that, and you seem like you're really, really changing your life for the better there.
Thanks. Hopefully it's not boring. But I hate making those posts, but I don't hate
not at all.
But it's just like I just do it for my self accountability, and also I found that like if I don't feel like doing something, if I don't feel like going to the gym, I'll read someone else's post and I'll be like, they're going, I can do it. And I've had people tell me, well, then I'm going to do that, that I've inspired. So it's going well. It's going very good. And I incorporated a food plan with the workouts in March. So I'm on a specific food plan. And that was kind of like the X factor. When you mix the working out with the food, then that was the thing. So I feel good. So we'll see.
Who could ask for more?
What did you find was like the changing point for you where you started to take it seriously?
I don't know. Maybe it was the heart thing. I had a little heart, stint put in a couple of years ago. But I think it's just age in general. I was always very comfortable in how I looked. I was comfortable in my skin. I never had a problem with how I looked. I was very good with that. But then I was just like, okay, I know I look fine into my head. I know I feel fine, but I know that for longevity, some of this is not fine. Like it runs in my family. Diabetes runs in my family. Heart disease runs in my family. And I have all intentions of making it the whole, 80 years of my life. So I was like, let me just see what I have to do to make it go longer. So, and my trainer has been a big difference. You heard the episode. He was big. So
yeah. It sounds like he's really dedicated to your journey as
he's
far
great.
as that.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. And it's like one of those things you learn as you do. Like I never thought I needed or wanted a trainer. I was like, who needs someone? I just need direction. But I found out, for me, it worked best. The whole secret to working out and the whole secret to food is there is no one thing. You got to find something that works for you. And it's not the same for everybody. So everyone has different goals. Everyone has different ways of reacting and of excelling. And
and everyone has different body chemistry too.
Yeah,
like the kind of diet and workout plan that might work for Chris Kelly over there might not work for me, might not work for you, might not work for you. So
yeah.
Well, I think you're in the best situation over here because you're all here like skin and bones. So
I mean, I wouldn't say
you're in pretty decent shape.
I tried to go for a run today and I could barely finish a mile. I used to be able to do 6 no problem. So something's going wrong. That's not what you want.
I mean, I've struggled with weight my whole life, and it's just one of those things that I haven't been able to really conquer yet. And it's it's nice to see somebody that's actually going through it, but it's just like it's very difficult to get into because like I don't want to say it's like fear of missing out kind of a thing because you feel like your life's going to be changed, and then you can't experience like the happier things in life of going out to dinner or whatever. But it seems like most of the week
you can still do all that stuff. Yeah. It's all about moderation.
I don't believe in deprivation at all. And I think what's been funny is that the things that I stopped doing, I don't necessarily miss. So I'm like, wow, I never thought, I do miss Chinese food. That's my weakness. But, I've been vegan for like a year now and mostly vegan. And I'm not missing a steak. If I want to have a steak, I'll have a steak, but I don't miss it, The thing that I'm dealing with right now that's a big, to be totally honest, it's a big mind F, and I think people do deal with it. I went from not worrying about anything, not getting on a scale, ignorance, right? Bliss. Ignorance is bliss. I don't need to know anything. But because of this process, you have to measure yourself and macros and all this stuff to go that next step. So now I've introduced numbers in my head, and now I have the Fitbit, one of those people to check my numbers. So now I'm almost not in an unhealthy way, but I'm almost obsessing on the numbers. And that's not healthy either. I need to find that middle ground. Maybe Matt, you saw, or Chris, that post on Facebook. I did this like little personal challenge while my trainer was away, where I said, I'm going to work out for an hour cardio, an hour strength training a day for a week. So for 7 days, I worked out for 2 hours a day. And I did it. Honestly, I did it. And it was great. Then I had my weekly weigh-in on Tuesdays with him. And I went up 3 pounds. Now, water weight, it's a million different things. It wasn't a big law. It wasn't a big fail. And I understand what happens with body chemistry. You can't predict like that. So I had to just, in my head, say, okay, you just go on to the next one. There's been weeks where I thought I ate crappy, and then I get on that scale and I lost 4 pounds. I'm like, how did that happen? I thought I ate crappy. So it's not falling into the spiral and saying, oh, woe is me, F this, I'm not going to try again, I'm not going to do it. So, but I'm in the weeds and the numbers, I'm just like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. So that's not healthy either. So I got to figure out the middle.
I mean, I guess sometimes it could be healthy because, like, if you hadn't been looking at it for a long time, it starts to make you think of, like, all the times that you might have eaten too much or you might have not exercised, and I can definitely see where it might mess with your head.
But don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. If you did the right thing for a week and freaking worked out for 2 hours a week and ate right, 2 hours a day and ate right, and you gained 3 pounds, don't beat yourself up. Like, don't be a slave to those numbers. That's what I'm saying. Use it as a guide, but it gets hard, But I'm looking at all these numbers. Oh, yeah, the Fitbit tells you how you slept. I only slept 6 hours and 33 seconds, and it's fair. And I said, I can't believe I was that person that was at 9,900 steps, and I was like, got to get to 10,000. So I walked around my house like for 2 minutes, like ridiculous. I'm that guy, but I feel good. That's all I'm at. I feel good.
It reminds me of what you were saying before about like you're the kind of person that wants to do everything kind of right the first time.
Yeah,
and it's like that, and I respect that. It's obviously really worked for you that you want to do it right and you are doing it right.
And here's a big thing that is the truth though. It's so much harder as you get older. So if you have any desire, start now, because if I did the things that I'm doing now when I was 30, 25, 30, the transformation would have been, that much crazier. But your metabolism slows down. It just gets harder and harder. You have to put more work in. So.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for me. Like it's been always been really hard my whole life to diet, quote unquote. It's because I love food and it's difficult because there's parts.
A lot of it's behavioral. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, or I don't know you enough to say what it is. But for me, it was behavioral. I mean, I work at a radio station. There's food all around. I sit for 5 hours a day at a studio. I like to eat in front of the TV. I mean, I like to watch and eat. So think about every time you sit down, you have food in your, food in your hand. So a lot of it's behavioral. I lived in a deli. Oh my gosh. Deli, 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 deli. The thing is that anything you buy at a deli that you didn't prepare yourself, it's not going to be good for you. I'm a bachelor. I'm single. So I go to Adam's, the pre-packaged meals. Those are great for convenience. But, that's the thing. You're going to get fried raviolis. I mean, what are you going to do? So,
yeah, I mean, my biggest gripe has always been sugar. I've always had a real issue with, like, now the soda thing. Like the last, I think, 2 years in the last 4 years, I quit soda for like a year. So I think that was very helpful as far as like getting the caffeine out of my body. Now I just do the diet soda. That seems to do the trick for me.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like you always struggle with, your habits. Like that definitely makes sense to me. Like, when it's lunchtime, I got to go get lunch, and then I'll go thinking I'm starving because I haven't eaten since 8:00 the night before, and then you stuff yourself, and then the whole rest of your day is screwed up because now you don't want to do anything. It's tough.
And sometimes it, like Nick said, it just comes down to who you are as a person. Like,
yeah.
I know what I've done. Like, I'm an overeater, like crazy amounts, and like my metabolism has just been able to achieve that. And some of my other friends will have like a quarter of what I have, and like it just affects them differently. So, and then one thing to point out what Sky said earlier, don't ever feel like you're doing too much in posting or stuff like that, because any amount of that motivation, like I love to see anybody who's trying to change for the better. So
it could help somebody else too.
Exactly.
If
So
you can
I would just
inspire
advise.
one single person, then that's
You've done your job.
That's one person who's made a choice to better their lives that hadn't before. So that's who could ask for more than that?
It's a positive. There's a positive of social media. There is some.
Yeah.
So,
There really is.
yeah. My only addiction is coffee, and I won't give that up. So it's fine. I've gone to
nobody
decaf,
should.
but no.
It's not going to kill you. It's not the worst.
I'm sorry.
No, you go.
As far as like how the station has changed post pandemic, what is that like now? Because I listen to the K show a lot, and they're still doing the show virtually, for example. Like they're still doing it separate locations over Zoom or whatever, and they have the producer in the studio, but they're all at their houses. Is it like that at K104, or has it gone back to in the studio, or what's the story over there?
We never went remote. The office was closed, but the DJs always went in, So that was hard because you kind of felt like a man on an island while the whole office is gone. You're in there scrubbing and wearing your mask and all that stuff. So everyone's back now, so that's great. Just business needs to get back.
Right.
Business is not where it was, and that's revenue. It's all about business. Some advertisers have come back, but the big ones where we make our money have not. Being car dealerships, we make a lot of money off car dealerships, but as you might know, there's a shortage of like the supply chain of cars. They're not looking to advertise and say, come to us. They don't need us. Education, colleges, enrollment's down. So they're not exactly advertising. So it's been a slow ramp up. It's getting better. Hopefully this is not another variant that's going to derail everything. But I liked going to work every day. It kept my mind off of things. I wouldn't say I didn't get depressed because of the pandemic, but I got nervous. Like I said, I live alone, and I would only see me. That's the only person I would see, and work was a way to get out of my 4 walls, So I really liked coming to work and going to work during the pandemic. But I didn't enjoy the content, it's not exactly fun to talk about, death count, stuff like that, but we were just passing along information. Things are getting better.
I see now that de Blasio announced today he's giving people $100 in the city to get vaccinated because people are not wanting to get vaccinated.
I feel so ripped off. Where's my $100?
That's what my mom.
This is what I get for being an early adopter.
Yeah, my mom was just saying that. Like, where's my $100?
Right? Like, the first day it went 30 and up, I was like, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, but there's $100 on the table.
That's the one thing that being sort of obese helped me out is that I was able to get the vaccine early enough because
I was one of the first people because like I got
you went like upstate to get it, right?
Well, I also have a restaurant job. So
yeah,
that's true.
You got the first wave. I was in the essential worker wave, so yeah, I was literally like, if we're looking at like the curve of adoption, I was literally the early adopter.
Yeah.
How'd you get it so early, you healthy quarter-age man?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't get it early. As soon as it became the 30 plus.
Oh, this is months later?
Yeah, it was like once it became 30,
Yeah.
there was a cancellation, and my cousin worked at Walgreens, so she sent me a text and it was like, there's a cancellation, you want to come in?
An amazing transition from nobody can get it to now, please take it, we'll give it to you, we'll come to you,
have the vaccine, and here's $100.
Yeah.
All I got was the sticker. I'm like, thanks
I know, man. And my sticker's faded. I put it on the back of my server book, and now it's like it's rubbed on my apron so much that you can't even read it anymore.
I didn't get any sticker.
Now,
my girlfriend got like this nice little.
Do I need a reboot? Like, what do you call it? A booster. Now it's been so long. I got mine in January. So,
some people got like this nice like little like plastic envelope to put their vaccine card in. It's like
I will say though, I'm kind of pretty mad that I'm driving around and my phone doesn't have 5G everywhere.
I know, man.
I thought it was supposed to be a booster for that too, but it's just not. Not helping out.
I went out running today and I was like, I'm in a dead zone.
Right?
This
like,
is so fucked up. Like I drove all the way to Binghamton for this microchip, and it can't even let me play Good Charlotte while I'm trying
5
to run.
feet away.
This is ridiculous. The tower's right there.
So yeah, that's fun times. I'm glad things are over. It seems to be, normalizing.
Well,
but what's very not normal,
Delta variant.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
What's very not normal is, however, that the Yankees are a dumpster fire.
They are.
And the Mets are just a slightly decently talented dumpster fire.
The Mets are pretty good this year, man. I can't talk shit about the Mets. I refuse to.
It's only because your team's probably going to win the World Series.
They probably are.
You got nothing to complain about.
Hey, I caught 2 foul balls in one game.
Nice.
Yeah? Were you in right field?
No.
Or no, that would have been a home run.
I was behind home plate.
Oh, okay. Well, how far? How long ago did you go?
I went Memorial Day weekend.
Very nice. Was that like a weird feeling? Because I imagine that's probably the first major event you had been to.
It was, but we were in the suites, the Delta suites, so we really didn't have any people around us. Yeah, it was like mass people to get in. It was like the last week before they upped the limits, so it was still pretty. It was weird to be in the stadium, and it was pretty empty. So. Yeah, it was just funny to be on the train. I haven't been on the train.
I refuse to go on the train again.
We have breaking news on the
official?
podcast.
Is it official?
Who got signed? Who got traded?
What?
Go.
What's the breaking news?
The Yankees have acquired star first baseman Anthony Rizzo.
We done knew that.
I heard about that.
We done knew. That's old news.
Well,
in order for it to be breaking news, it has to be breaking.
It says 58 minutes ago, so I don't want to hear anything out of you.
Well, we knew about this 58 minutes ago. There,
I think I went a very similar weekend to you, Sky, when it was still the smaller limits, and you still had to wear your mask the whole game, and they were pretty on it. Like if anybody who had their mask over their nose, they were walking over and like.
Hey man,
put it up.
Yeah,
like you know the rules. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like you eat, you put it back up. That was it. And then I went to a Knicks
hadn't
game.
been to the city. I haven't been to the city back to Manhattan in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the train in, and we were just chatting, and totally missed the stop. And then the train stopped at everyone off Grand Central. Like, what the hell? What did he get at? We missed the stop. We had to take the subway. So I wanted to be safe, and we ended up having to take the subway from Grand Central to Yankee Stadium. Like figures.
I got the worst sickness I ever got in my life going on the 7 train in New York City. So I will never go on the subway ever again.
No?
I caught swine flu on the 7 train back in the day.
You had swine flu?
You were one of the swine flu cases in New York.
I believe so. Here's I have.
This is incredible. This is bigger breaking news than the Rizzo trade.
Yeah.
I assume I had it because this was 2009, correct?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So I was sick for like 2 weeks. That was probably the worst sick I've ever been in my entire life. And we never knew what it was.
Okay.
But then in my head, I'm thinking, a lot of the symptoms for swine flu was exactly what I had. I was like, not to get into the
patient zero over here.
I was patient zero for coronavirus and the swine flu.
You were patient zero for coronavirus too. This is amazing.
Yeah, but I remember
scientists should be studying you. I mean,
that was the sickest I've ever been in my entire life, and it was after we went on the 7 train.
Well, I'm glad you bounced back. Are you sure it wasn't anything other than the 7 train?
Yeah.
No, we went on the 7 train, and like maybe 2 days later, I went to school and everything was normal. And then right around like 8th period, like I was like really like cold and
you're young. You still were in high school.
Yeah, I was still in high school. So I go home and I just was like, I was freezing, like I was like shivering, and I had to get under my blanket. And my mom's like, "You need to go to the hospital."
Did you also get bird flu?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm just I'm pretty sure it was probably swine flu. Because it was right around that time, and they had no idea what it was. So
I feel like there was a lot of people like pre-March that were getting sick too. Because I know I got pretty sick before like March of 2020. So there could have been like
I had a coworker that was out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and nobody knew what it was.
That could have been.
She came back and she's like, "Damn, I was so sick."
I was less sick with coronavirus, but I was scared more when having coronavirus because you when you lose all your senses, it's weird. Like I said in the past, like when you lose your smell, that's normal. When you get a cold, that happens. But when you lose your taste, that's like really, or no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
When you lose your taste, it's normal. But when you lose your smell, it's really weird.
Did you test it?
I don't know.
Did you like swig a bottle of Frank's Red Hot sauce or anything?
So here's what happened. So I go to my girlfriend's house. It was a Sunday night.
Real quick, that should be the test.
That should be the test.
Yeah. Test. Just like
ghost pepper.
You can't taste anything. Here's a ghost pepper.
I had gone
This is nothing.
Somebody. Now, this is like going to be super fucked up.
Go ahead. Nothing out of the ordinary for you.
Somebody should get the coronavirus and then shoot a video of them doing the ghost pepper or like the cinnamon challenge or something.
Well, yeah, what's that? What's that?
Like, this ain't shit.
That wing show with the guy where you eat the wings with the guy.
Oh, hot
ones?
Hot
yeah.
ones. Do a hot ones with coronavirus.
With a coronavirus patient.
Sean, he's going to be like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anybody who just downs the wings like you do." It's well,
The test for me was peanut butter. Have you ever tasted peanut butter with no taste?
Well, I'm allergic, so no. No, I have had it, but
it's the weirdest feeling. It's like you're just eating this.
I can imagine that.
It's like this empty mush, and just like I couldn't eat anything.
You don't have taste. Like I feel like anything would by default be empty.
But
mush,
the texture of peanut butter.
Yeah, it's like you were waiting for the peanut butter taste. I could not taste anything. It's like. So I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to eat for the whole day. I just, sat there drinking iced tea and I can't even taste that. So it's just like, what's the point? So it was scary though. Cause you think like, cause I had been feeling weird and then it was kind of like by chance I went to the doctor cause I wasn't feeling good.
You had to get the test?
But cause my girlfriend, they had like had a fireplace and it was like really smoky in their house and I have asthma. So it was giving me some trouble. So I thought, well, let's go to the hospital, get checked. And he's like, I'll give you a swab. This was back when it was hard to get a swab.
Okay.
So he's just like, you work at the hospital, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? Because he couldn't give it to anybody else. So, and then like an hour later, he's like, yeah, you have coronavirus. You might want to go home. Yeah.
I feel like months after, like that's all they would test for. It's like I went in because I had like allergies. And I was like, can you like do something for the allergies? Because
no coronavirus.
I know kind of over the years of like when my allergies are kind of flaring up.
Mm-hmm.
And like the only thing the doctor did was like test for corona.
Yeah.
I tell you, there is nothing more nerve-wracking than going in to get allergy medicine for your friend, like the day after the mask mandate gets lifted. And you go into like the cough and allergy section and like, face out in the open and people are just staring at you and they're like,
it took a few weeks for me. It just was like weird.
I hated going to the to get the test, like the
Test?
drive-through and stuff like that, because I would go.
Mhm.
I think I got corona, when I was in the city, and I got an antibody test a month later, and it was positive. So that's when I got it. I was sick. I had a fever. It was nothing terrible. But then afterwards, we tested for Thanksgiving because I was seeing my family. Tested for Christmas because I was seeing my family. So I was like, you walk I went to a drive-through in Hopewell, the same place, Pulse MD. And what you do is you start to read the body language. Like, they swab you, they go into the office, they come back 10 minutes later, and they walk to your car, and you're like, okay, do they look like they have something to say? Do they look like they're preparing themselves? You're just like that moment of like,
Yeah.
horrible. But it was always a negative.
Yeah, it was like the guy said, "Oh yeah, I'll call you back in a few hours," and he called me back like 20 minutes later. It's like, "Yeah, you might want to go home."
Let me tell you, I went to, there was a spot in Middletown Medical in Middletown that I went to. The first time I went there, breeze, they went probably like halfway through the nose, whatever. Beautiful. So then I had to go get another one. It's like, let me go back there. So I went back there. Totally different. I go back to the drive-through, right? And the first thing the person says, which I didn't hear the first time, was, sit on your hands. And immediately I think, this is not going to be as easy as the first time.
No,
not at all. So then I sat on my hands. She had me lean back a little bit, and she went so far up. I swear she touched my brain. She took a piece of it.
Was this Q-tip time period where they had to stick the whole thing up your nose?
Like, she put it up, swirled it, came down, she put it into the other one, swirled it, and she told me to breathe out. But I've never felt the pain after that, because as soon as it was out, I had an immediate headache. I went home. It was hard to drive home. And finally, when I got home, I passed out for 2-3 hours. It was
I think
horrible.
they got better with their swabs later on, because the one I got was a little I don't know, a little.
They gave
flap.
you the Phineas Gage treatment.
Yeah.
They went straight out there. They took a memory.
Yeah.
It's not what
I
you
don't
want.
remember my mom's name anymore.
That's probably why I forget things now very easily.
Hey, I don't
wonder-
do movies. I'm not a movie buff like you, but I have a question. Did you hear the news about Scarlett Johansson?
No.
Oh,
What
she
about her?
sued. She's
suing Disney.
because it was a
For what?
violation of her contract for Marvel Studios to release the movie on demand and in theaters on the same day.
Yes,
And they did.
She's supposed to get a piece of the box office, and when the box office numbers dropped drastically after they released it on.
Listen,
They knew exactly what they were doing.
listen.
They were like, whatever.
exactly. They know exactly what they're doing, but also get that bag, Scarlett.
Yeah.
I have to respect it. You
Yeah.
know? If they,
It's a power move.
I normally, it's hard for me to feel sympathy for anybody who's got millions and millions of dollars, but the one exception is when they're going up against somebody who has
More.
billions and billions of dollars.
Wait, did Colin
Anybody
Jost
goes
marry up?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Maria?
it's got to be top 5, right? Like Colin Jost and ScarJo. I mean,
Right.
He's going to be in Connecticut in a few weeks. I was thinking to go see him, but I don't know if he's funny or not.
Sky, we had a couple of questions that we
Yeah.
asked on Instagram.
we
had a couple.
Before we
I
get
know
into
mine.
that, I also have a top 5 list.
You would like to do
special
it-
for the occasion.
Oh yeah, he would like to do a top 5 list.
in our rip-off segment of the famous Don LaGreca top 5 lists.
Yes.
So I wanted to keep it radio related.
Okay.
So I have top 5 one-hit wonders of our generation.
What is your generation? Give me a age range.
So just from when I did from 2000 onward. So
Okay.
when the 3 of us were kids. So top 5 and my personal taste is going to have an effect on the list. So I like rock and I like hip hop. That's what
I would
I'm
like to go
into.
first.
So there's no country songs on the list, for example.
That's fine with me.
But yeah, so top 5 one-hit wonders of our era, and anybody feel free to guess.
I'm gonna go with somebody that I used to know.
Somebody that I used to know. That's a great poll, Matt Dixon. It's number 3.
Wonderful.
Oh, wow.
It topped 7 charts at once, if I remember. It was a huge
It won Song of the Year,
and won the Grammy for Song of the Year.
and then he
and
just
then
disappeared.
nothing happened after that with Godier or the girl.
Yeah.
Nothing became of either of them, and I'm still really shocked that that the song blew up as it did, and that they just kind of crashed and burned afterwards. But it was a great song. I remember everybody being into it in the 8th grade, and
the music video where they're like
they're
on the
getting
wall,
painted. Yeah, it was awesome.
God, you were in 8th
So,
grade.
Great poll. Somebody that I used to know, number 3.
All right. I feel like I'm pretty versed in this.
Okay.
I have to throw some of your ilk in there. Is I believe a thing called Love by The Darkness in there?
Huh.
I did not think about it, and it did not make the list.
premier one-hit wonder of the OOs. Come on. It's like number 1.
I did not think about it, and
All right,
it did
fine.
not make the list.
Fine.
I do not like the song.
Are we gonna go with? I'm sorry if I'm just riffing off a few that I can think off the top of my head. Is Size Gundam Style on the list?
Oh,
I did not even consider Gangnam Style. Not even for a split second was it under consideration.
That would make the top 10,
It's
though,
not
don't
on the
worry.
list.
All right, fine. Chris, throw some numbers out there.
I am terrible with these on the spot. I can my
Yeah.
mind just goes blank and I cannot think of a single song.
I want to know what Sky's thinking over there. He's the radio guy.
I know, but I suck at eras. I don't even know what era these songs are.
I'll give you a hint. So
Semisonic Closing Time? Is that before 2000?
I did think about Closing Time because it was a big hit, and we used it as the tagline to end one of my old podcasts that I used to do. Joe would say on grind hours, he would say, "It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here."
He always does that. He still does that.
He still does that.
Yeah.
But
Damn, you weren't the first.
I did not
I was not.
put it on the list. I thought about it, but it did not make the list. So I'll give you a hint. So 3 of them are of the remainder. 3 of them are from the 2000s. Basically, I would consider my middle school era, and 1 was from 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. About that,
I'm gonna go with Black Horse and the Cherry Tree.
I did not even consider it.
Okay, fine. I'm just
There's
thinking
so
of,
many
of
songs,
crappy
like,
one-hit wonders.
Yeah,
You know,
you can't pare it down.
Can we get a year for the one that was 3 years ago? That's a dumb question. I'm sorry.
I think that would be.
That was 2000 and that was 2018, right?
If your math is correct, that would.
Let me check. It blew up. I remember hearing it a lot on K104 when I worked at the Pro Image at the mall because they played K104 all the time. So it was 2017 it came out, and 2018 probably when it blew up.
Despacito.
No,
Oh.
just not Despacito.
Call Me Maybe.
It's neither of those are one-hit wonders. Like Despacito was
Rebecca Black Friday.
Friday. I was really good the first one. Now I'm just drawing a blank.
This is a terrible performance out of you.
All right, so
these guys have an excuse because they haven't said anything.
I got number 3.
You're batting like 1 for
Is number 1
12 now.
number 1 blatantly obvious?
Number 1 is probably blatantly obvious if you're a skater kid, but since
Ooh.
you 3 are not skater kids,
I'm not a skater boy.
it might not be blatantly obvious to you.
Is Replay by Eoz on the list?
I
actually did think about that because it was a massive hit when I was in middle school. Everyone knew the song.
You can't say these polls aren't great. I'm going back into
They're solid polls.
the archives.
No, Replay was a massive hit. It's still memed to this day. There was ridiculous parodies of it all over early YouTube. So I did think about it, but I did not put it on the list.
Go to the more on the right. See the more, and say start recording. Beautiful. Okay, I can just think that up later.
Perfect.
Yeah, Iaz did not make.
This
the
is not your.
list.
Did we lose him again?
There you
No?
are.
Not your
Okay,
everyday.
he's still here.
It's still there.
Um,
So we've got number 3. We need 1, 2, 4, and 5.
I think this is your worst list because clearly you should have picked like top 5 like hip hop songs of the OOs, and I'm sure these 2 would have been all over it.
I still wouldn't. I'm terrible at lists.
I feel bad. Like I should give you guys more help.
yeah, you can't just say the years. There's thousands.
Number
of songs.
1 was in a lot of like teen movies. Like it was in like American Pie soundtrack.
I'm terrible at trivia.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you.
This is where the cricket sound comes in
Yeah.
in the editing.
Damn. All right, number 4. I will tell you, number 4 was extremely popular because it had a ridiculous dance associated with it.
Is that
and also a ridiculous video where the artists in question were wearing SpongeBob shirts and hanging out on the beach.
Thrift Shop by Macklemore?
No.
He's not a one-hit wonder either.
Yeah.
I just had another one on top of my head.
Can I give you some breaking news myself?
You can.
Westbrook officially to the Lakers.
Ooh.
Really?
Yes. I don't know.
They're starting another super team.
I think Kuzma was part of the trade, but I just got that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kuzma. It's probably Kuzma and Caldwell Pope, I would think.
Damn, that's going to be interesting.
All right, I'm just going to read off the list.
Is Harlem Shake on the list?
Harlem Shake is not on.
Black Beetle?
I did think about that, but I feel like they've had like some decently. They're weird because like that was their only hit together, but Sway Lee's had some hits on his own.
Very true.
But all right, so we got somebody that I used to know. Number 1 was Stacy's mom.
Oh, okay, I agree.
Every skater kid's in middle school favorite song. Number 2, Feel It Still, Portugal the Man. I remember that being everywhere.
Would have never gotten that.
Another song of the year.
It was like their 8th album or something. Like it was ridiculous that
That's
was
a great
the
song.
one that blew up. It was a great song. They play it at Outback when I work. You know. Number 4, the dance in question was the Cat Daddy. Do you remember the Rejects, Chris Kelly?
I don't remember that
Cat
song.
Daddy.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually know the artist's name. I just knew the song title.
Call me SpongeBob, stacking Krabby Patties. Bitch, I go to work, do my Cat Daddy. I ripped my pants at the middle school dance doing the Cat Daddy.
Getting down, huh?
Getting down.
Remember
what's number?
Remember Omi Cheerleader?
Oh yeah.
I was on 92.3 amp in the city, and we kind of broke that song. I remember that going to a showcase with him. Here's the thing: when you're in pop music for a living, the chance of something being a one-hit wonder is very high. So that's why
it was probably, in retrospect, it was probably harder for you because there's so many.
Yeah, I mean, and whenever I interview, people in pop music are so nice to interview because they know it could be their only shot. That's why I don't like interviewing bands that are established because, they have a bit of an attitude. But some of these one-hit wonder dance artists that you never hear again, they're like, oh my God, I'm being interviewed. And they're just going to be really, really open and happy.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, number 5, to round that off, was Shake It by Metro Station.
Oh my.
Trace Cyrus's band.
We had them at Not So Silent Night. Yeah.
Everybody in middle school was all about that when I went to middle
I'm disappointed
school.
I didn't get number 2 because that's definitely one-hit wonder material.
Yeah.
Feel It Still is.
That's that band is a fascinating story because they've put out some great like indie albums like for years and years and years, and then for whatever reason like that song just connected with people and resonated.
On the weekends, I'm on a station in Hartford, Connecticut. We do 90s alternative on the weekends, so a lot of those 90s rock like Deep Blue Something, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Do you remember standing outside a broken phone booth with money in my pocket?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? White Town, Your Woman. Remember that?
Remember In the Meantime, Space Hog?
Oh, I love that one. Yes. Yes. Sponge.
The guy from
Molly, that was 16 Candles Down the Drain.
Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground.
Yeah, that's a day.
Top Thumping by Chumbawamba.
Yeah, that's my era. I love that.
Cuba Stank, The Reason Is You.
Sky, do we have any sort of time crunch with you? I just don't want to keep you too long.
I got like 10 minutes. I got a 5 a.m. workout tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's get these questions in.
Let's end with our viewer questions.
I can ask mine first.
What's your question? He asked the question, but he didn't know he was going to be here. So what's your question?
So my question was, what from your memory do you have like a song, like a crazy song that somebody has requested?
Like, what's the wildest request? Like, has anybody ever called in and been like, "Can I hear Teach Me How to Scream by Broken Side"?
No, you know what? They know what their request. They know the station they're calling, so I don't really get any crazy requests. So,
this one
the
is
only annoying people. Oh, no, I don't want to say that. I get in trouble. Never mind. Never mind. There are certain boy bands that have the armies behind them, and they're very, very intense online and in social media, and they can attack.
I'm envisioning BTS.
Oh.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Nick said that.
Yeah.
We'll have to beep.
Don't mention them. They'll
come after you, Nick.
Yeah.
Well,
So Liz sends in, what was it about K104 specifically that appealed to you?
The
When you
paycheck.
took the job. The paycheck.
No, I met
the
Scotty
answer.
Mack, the program director. I met him on Long Island, and he asked me to work for them. So it was. I was doing nights in Connecticut before this, so it was a chance to be on in the afternoon and be in management. And it's always good to be working for the big dog. You know, I mean, if you're going to work in a radio market, to work for the winner. You know, you can be at some smaller stations for other reasons, but when you work for the winner, it's a lot easier. So it's good to be on top.
Mark Carnseha asks top three best worst excuses for a student missing a deadline or being absent.
Oh man, so many. You know, a lot of people go to court for like weeks on end. I was in court. I had a student. It was true though. It wasn't a worst, but it was true. I had a student who. She told me she wasn't in because she got in a car accident. She hit a cow. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? And then I looked at the front page of the Times Herald Record, and she hit a cow. Yeah, it was true.
You're excused. You have the day off.
Yeah.
People are
That's a
like,
very
you know,
upstate
saying it
thing
was
to
so
do.
mean of her. She didn't mean to hit the cow, but she hit a cow. And then I don't know. This sounds very dark, but I always say at the beginning of the semester, I'm like, somebody's grandparent is going to pass away this semester. And I just say that because I want you to tell me or keep me informed that you're calling in. And because people use that as an excuse. So, you know, but some people lie about it. Like, you shouldn't lie about that stuff.
That's karma.
The funny thing is when they do it multiple times in a semester
Yeah.
with multiple classes.
Yeah.
My mom is a professor at OC too, and she told me a story that she once had a student who used the dead grandmother excuse, and then the grandmother actually died later in the semester.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens.
And like
I
you played yourself.
I don't go as far, you know, I don't allow my students to friend me on Facebook, at least, you know, when they're my students. But sometimes you're tempted to check social media and see, okay, well, what are you doing? If you're called in sick or you're at the mall, but it's whatever. I'm more about time. I like people being on time. That's the challenge I have. Everyone's on time the first day, but then not so much.
I've already
Nick
apologized for that in the
Paradies,
past.
fashionably late every day to class.
Yeah.
Love you, Sky.
I tried my best.
It's all good.
Laura sends in, who was your favorite person that has visited the station, and do you have any funny stories about artists who have visited?
More people we see at K-Fest than come to the station. But at K-Fest, LL Cool J was awesome at K-Fest. He was such a good guy. The station, no funny stories. There's a couple. We had Justin Bieber. He took one of those, what do they call, razor scooters? Remember those? He just like caused havoc.
I had one.
He caused havoc in our office running around on the razor scooter wearing one of those scream masks that we had as well. It's like having a 10-year-old in the building. And then
I gotta interrupt because that was exactly the kind of thing I was doing in like school and stuff. And like there is a video of me and my friend doing skateboarding, and by skateboarding tricks I mean we could do ollies, and then the rest of the video was us skating around, and we did that and like scooter tricks.
Yeah,
with Rich Man by 303 playing as like the soundtrack of the video, and it's bad somewhere in the ethos of the internet. That I think we put it on MySpace, so it might not be out there anymore.
It might be in the dark web now.
But,
what era of Biebs was this? Was this young Biebs?
Young Biebs, young enough that we had him as perform at Splashdown Beach, and and then some of our DJs went out with his dancers and got drunk. So
nice. Was he at least a pleasant human being, or was he kind of a stooge?
He was a bratty kid.
I gotta say, I got to give a big shout out to Justin Bieber because to make that transition from being the bratty kid to like
he's improved.
I see him now, and he's like a stand-up husband and like family man.
Did you watch the documentary on it? It's like a 6-part on YouTube. Yeah, it was really good.
It's a lot of pressure.
And it takes so much guts to be in like someone who's that in the public spotlight and publicly, because I remember when he did like the roast, and at the end of it, he was like, to publicly admit that not only do you realize that you fucked up, but that you're actively trying to be a better person. I have tremendous amounts of respect for Justin Bieber for doing that.
100%.
Definitely.
Who did what was the name of that? I forgot their name. Not Oasis. Who was on our station? The bald guy, piano. Anthony
Fantano?
No.
Seal?
No. And they were at Resorts World, a group. Shoot. They were popular.
Bald guy with piano?
Bald piano guy.
Yeah.
Will Google.
Oh, his name was
CeeLo Green.
What's his name? We're not going to finish his podcast. His name was shoot. Isaac.
Right,
his name was Isaac. Isaac.
Oscar Isaac?
No.
The actor?
Isaac.
Isaac Hayes?
What's the group? No.
No, Isaac Hayes, he's a solo artist.
Isaac Hayes, the singer of the Shaft theme song?
Yeah.
That's going to be a little
Never
tough.
mind. Isaac.
Shoot. Well, he was really good. Good old Isaac. They always had songs in like a Grey's Anatomy. That kind of.
Oh, the Fray.
Yes, the Fray were awesome.
Yeah. How to save a life.
And the other story, if you know, it was a long time ago. My friend got a job at K104, and his opening thing at the night show, he did a bit. He said he played the song "Let Me Clear My Throat" by DJ Kool over and over and over again. He said, "I'm not going to stop playing this song until I get 104 bras brought to the radio station." So he stayed on the air for about 12 hours. We got 104 bras to come. Women dropped off their bras. We hung them up. We hung them up all throughout the station. That next morning, our sister station had a big interview coming in. It was Kathy Lee Gifford, who was very religious. So Kathy Lee Gifford walks into the radio station, and she walks by our studio and sees all these bras, and she's like, "Where am I going? What am I doing?" So that was a funny moment.
This is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
But that might be the greatest moment in radio history.
But it was a little gross because you just didn't know where the bras, you knew where they came from, but it wasn't the most sanitary thing. But that's what you do.
It's like cleaning up after a Justin Timberlake concert, I imagine. There's probably a lot of that same type of energy going on.
I think that's a perfect place to end for the evening.
There's your visual. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
thank you, man.
Everybody go and check out what's the name of your podcast there?
Sky Media. SKY Media. It's on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, all those things.
We love Anchor. It's our favorite.
Beautiful.
Is that what you
Anchor's
use?
the best app. Yeah, Anchor's wonderful.
I've made 23 cents with my sponsor.
Really?
Nice.
Really raking in the big bucks.
Yeah. The latest episode is Adam Levine. I have few others on there, and it's a work in progress, but check it out.
Excellent. And of course, everybody in the local area. I mean, if you live in the area, you probably listen to K104. It's what do you call it? It's church in this area.
It's a local institution.
It's a local institution.
No. You have to say what people say to me. I listen to K104. It's the only thing I get in. Thank you.
Like when I worked at Pro Image, it was the only thing that made it to the bottom of the ball.
There you go. I'll take it.
Strong signal, man. I gotta hats off to K104 for getting that signal everywhere.
You can't improve your signal. You're kind of given what you're given. So, we were born with a 50,000 watt signal because you can't make it more because you don't know what's on the other end. 104.9, 104.5. You just are that signal 104.7 in this area is 50,000 watts. So we're blessed by the signal.
Nice.
Cool. Chris Kelly, thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks, Chris. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice seeing you too. And I definitely have to check out the podcast. I'm excited to listen.
Please do.
and keep it up because you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that at Kels55 everywhere?
Everywhere.
Except for TikTok.
Except for TikTok. Then it's the _ Kels55 or Kels _55, depending on if you want the gaming one or like the more visual one.
I wonder if our demographic is TikToking, but I don't know. I think our demographic is the people.
I would hope so, because TikTok is what's deciding what's cool in culture now.
Yeah.
I would hope our demographic is TikToking.
Cool.
I certainly hope my band's demographic is TikToking. My band that has zero
release an album
right
first.
Now.
Release a song.
It's coming. September.
I know.
It's coming. September. The song drop. The first song drops.
Progress.
Yeah.
Just keep making progress.
Yeah.
Everything.
We got that Paramore cover coming to you soon. Don't you worry.
Don't be a one-hit wonder.
I would love to be a one-hit wonder. If I can be one of those nice interviews that you were talking about for stations all over the country, that'd be great.